he didn't light it up. The Niners didn't win because of Jimmy Garoppolo, but he was very efficient and he did not make mistakes. He played mistake-free football, and that's huge. And I think that's what happens. We saw what happens when Jimmy does that, and you get a nice dose of the ground game with a defense playing well enough, as well as they did today, I should say. So perfect combination. They ran 40 times, which is extremely impressive. The game went by so quickly. Is this the recipe moving forward, would you say, Anthony?
Yeah, man, that's what I was saying here on Twitter is that this was just like the 2019 team. I mean, you got to take the ball out of the Jimmy 19 Packers game where Garoppolo only threw, what, 8 times, and the Vikings game, he only threw 12 or 13 times, too. It's 2019 vibes. I mean, you run the ball 40 times. It may not be pretty, but if you're just churning out yards and you're converting on first, second, third down consistently, not only are you wearing down a defense, but you're just demoralizing them. And when you get good Jimmy tonight, where he made really impressive third down throws, like the final Deebo Samuel touchdown, which was it was a pretty open window throw, but he timed it perfectly, and Deebo just took it to the house. When you have that kind of stuff happening, on top of the Rams' offense turning the ball over 3 times, it makes for a demoralizing thing through and through. And yeah, it's been very, very impressive, very 2019 vibe-ish. And I think kind of going back to 2019 too, Zach, I think that's more or less the last time we really saw the 49ers consistently turn the ball over.
I'm excited. I think that this was a pivotal game for the 49ers. And if they take advantage of this, if they capitalize on this momentum moving forward, they could be sitting in a wild card position, looking back at this night and saying that was the turning point in our season. That was the time where we finally got it together. We finally get everything going the right direction and took advantage. So it was a huge win for the Niners, huge win for Levi Stadium, and a huge win for the 94 Throwbacks red jerseys because they hadn't one of those yet, and they were doing a damn disservice to them because I was sick of them getting whooped wearing those jerseys. They're too beautiful to get whooped in them. Yeah, there's just so much going on. I'm trying to pull up the standings here, but I only have them in breakdown of division. I'm trying to find them to where I can get them the full NFC conference. But while I'm pulling those up, what was one thing that you think shocked you the most from tonight's win, Anthony?
What shocked me the most from tonight's win? I think I'm going to be a little bit kind of like not negative, but man, where was the pass rush tonight? You know what I mean? It felt like the pass rush was pretty non-existent for the most part. And I said this, the fact that the 49ers pass rush wasn't really good up until the end of the game, when it doesn't really matter. For the first 3 quarters, it was the Niners pass rush just wasn't there. But the secondary and the back 7 of the entire defense just lit up the Rams all night long. And if the Rams weren't dropping the ball, the Rams were getting hit hard. Alshire and Hufanga laid the hammer on those dudes. Even Ward had some nice hits. We saw DJ Jones freaking blow up a fake punt play. I couldn't believe that even happened. I think aside from K'Wan Williams getting that freaking non-call or that call on the interception, which should have been an interception, the gooch pick we'll call it the gooch pick. Aside from that not happening, I think the open field DJ Jones tackle was by far the most filthiest play all night. That was oh man, I might be lagging. He just might be, DJ Jones is athletic and he's only 5'10", 300 plus pounds. And he just, he just freaking blew it up through and through.
I can't believe that they tried doing that fake field goal. I was at first I'm like, okay, what went wrong? They probably messed up somewhere and the punter tried to recover. No, it was just a straight up fake. And there was that, and then the 4th down stop. I mean, that's 6 to 10 points that were off the board right there for the Rams. I appreciate the aggressiveness and I respect it coming from Sean McVay because they were down, and I understand he probably thought we need to get some more points here, but it completely backfired, and then they were in the hole even further. So I really do appreciate what the 49ers offense and special teams was able to do. I was kind of expecting a little more from Brandon Ayuk, but it wasn't anything on his end because he still caught basically everything that was thrown at him. He was three receptions. He had, hauled in three receptions on four targets, 26 yards, and a long of 21. So he was making some really impressive catches tonight. There were a couple where I'm like, oh my God, Jimmy, that's a pick. And Brandon Ayuk snucks it out of the air. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, jeez. Jimmy throws those scary passes, man. It's either sometimes they're a hospital ball, sometimes they're completely too high. But Brandon Ayuk saved the day on those passes. So that was nice to see. What did you think about? I know the 49ers ran it 40 times. Do you think that you talked about it earlier? It was like the playoff game. Was that more so just, hey, it's working. We're killing the clock. We are beating a team we shouldn't have beat. So we need to get this clock going. Or do you think it was more like we can't really trust Jimmy to win this game for us? So we're going to run it 40 times tonight.
That's a good question. And I think it was a little bit of both. Mostly the run game, it was like, okay, well, this is working. I won't stop chiming about it because I was really shocked to look at it now that the Niners only averaged 3.5 yards. But the conversions are what mattered. But I will say that when the run plays weren't there, Jimmy Garoppolo was executing, and he was being able to just simply get that done. So there was a little bit of trust that Kyle Shanahan was able to put into Jimmy Garoppolo, where he was able to really go and execute. And it wasn't like the Packers game, where I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo really had any tough throws to hit, except for the George Kittle one where he was wide open. There were some plays where Jimmy Garoppolo tonight did have to make a pretty tough throw for a first down, and he was able to, albeit that the wide receivers on his team did have to make some tough catches. I know Kittle had a couple of tough catches to make. Debo had a few tough catches as well. So Garoppolo really, he wasn't asked to do much, but at the same time, when it was those third down conversion rates, and God forbid David Lombardi tomorrow is just going to, freaking get it off on Jimmy Garoppolo. But I will say that Jimmy Garoppolo was able to execute when it mattered most. And it's nice to see that Shanahan kind of gave Jimmy the chance to put the ball in his hands and make a play. And he was able to, and he was able to really get those throws down. But again, it was just another one of those, we didn't really see Jimmy Garoppolo throw the ball past 10 yards. And it's like, you want to see him throw the ball deep just to make something happen. And I know they didn't need to do that tonight. But again, going into the Rams game in the final game of the season, week 18, I think the Rams likely will have a better game plan against us, assuming that we are in the playoff hunt. So it's just little things like that. You don't have to worry about it as much now, but we know Jimmy Garoppolo, Zach. We know that you can't throw the ball deep. And we know that that's going to be the biggest, the biggest crippling thing that the Niners are going to have to deal with down the road. But it was definitely a run game type of day, 100%. It was, this is working. We're not getting the big carries, but we're getting the important carries. And I mean, you look at the box score stats, man. Elijah Mitchell, you said, 27 carries or 21 carries or whatever. He had a very good amount. But it was nice to see that Shanahan wasn't afraid to give Jeff Wilson the ball. He also wasn't afraid to give Debo Samuel the ball. So he did somewhat kind of take the pressure off Mitchell a bit, although Mitchell was the bell cow. But we see him mixing and matching. And this was kind of like in 2019 when Mostert was the primary guy. And then you had Breida running the crap out of the ball as well. And Tevin Coleman, who, but Tevin Coleman was able to get the job done too, So you see what Shanahan can do when he has a complete run game. And that's the thing, is that tonight wasn't even the peak of what we could see from the run game. And I think that's just a glimpse of what Shanahan could do with the run game moving forward. And if he's able to get that thing going on all cylinders and really just let Jimmy Garoppolo execute on third down, I think they could run the table and really make some noise.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you there. If they get this performance from Jimmy and the running game moving forward, they're a tough team to beat, even with their defense kind of as spotty as they've been, because they can put up points. And I really do think that is the recipe for success moving forward for the 49ers. I have some quotes here that I want to read to you, get your thoughts on. After the game, they had obviously press conference, and Jimmy was talking about the opening drive when he said it got us into a rhythm for sure. That's the way we want to do it. Just running the ball, converting on third downs, and scoring at the end. I don't want to say it took their soul away, but it definitely did something. The Niners are out here snatching souls, Anthony. I mean, is this just not a complete perfect embodiment of what they are trying to do theoretically every week in the running game.
Did you see the post on Twitter where the Niners said, "Oh, all they said was who," and it was Deebo Samuel holding the football, I think giving it to Tom Compton, whatever, and it was a touchdown.
Yep.
Yeah, man, that's very indicative of what they've been trying to do, and it was really really impressive. And you see that when the Niners even play with half the swagger that they could play with even more, you get these kind of games. And I know Kyle Shanahan owns the Rams, but you look at 2019, and that was this tonight was the whole season of 2019. It was absolutely the whole season. And yeah, you had the stretch where Garoppolo played well. But for the most part, it was let the running backs carry the ball 40 plus times, execute, let Jimmy Garoppolo's day in life be a little easier, and go and just kick some freaking ass, man. And that's what they did. And it's like everyone's been talking about how the Niners haven't really had an identity going into this matchup tonight. And it's true. They haven't really had any type of identity. And you finally see that, okay, well, they play like tonight. This is the 2019 team. And that's fine. I'll take it. If they can get what they got going tonight moving forward, I'll take that all night long. 100%.
You talked about next week, the Niners facing Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville. After that, they come back home for a game against Minnesota Vikings. And then after that, they go to Seattle for a Sunday night game. The next three games, in my opinion, if they play like they play tonight, are very winnable. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if they're going to go and run the table, man, this is the time now. It's week 10, so they have like 8 games left. They're 4 and 5. Yeah, 8 games left. Yeah, this is time to run the table. I'm not going to say they'll go 12 and 5, but I mean, 10 and 7 and the 7th seed in the playoff spot. Yeah, I know I'm a fan and I know I'm optimistic, but man, it's very credible. The Niners likely will go 3-0 in this next stretch, and you're going to have them at 7 and 5 going. They're either looking in, or they're just right on the cusp of the bubble, just hanging on for dear life. And yeah, man, this is crunch time. I think that visit from John York the other day in practice really lit a fire under these dudes' asses, because they came out hot. And they just got to keep it consistent. And if they're going to right the ship, it starts with games like tonight. I know Shanahan owns McVay. That's definitely something to consider. But the Rams are one of the hottest teams in football. You can't deny that. And you see how they play. You see what they can do. And you see what the Niners just did. And it goes, okay, well, the window is wide open. I don't think that window is shut at all.
Totally agree. This is, like I said, huge moment in the season. Can they capitalize? Can they take advantage of this momentum moving forward? I think they can. I really do think they can. Every single time I've been excited and optimistic, this team has let me down this season. So I'm going to be a little cautious, but I just want to say I do think they can. With that said, Anthony, you got any final thoughts before we wrap things up?
Run the ball 40 times. Garoppolo's got to throw it 20 or less times, and that's your blueprint for the playoffs, man. Not much to say. We covered everything. This was a really exciting game. It just felt different. Levi's felt different. It's the first time we've seen Levi's that loud and that rocking all season. And if the fans can bring that energy, we know the players love it. If they can keep that energy moving, if they can just stay consistent, I think we have a sneaky little playoff team that if I was any other NFC team, I would not want to face the Niners if they get hot.
That's fair. That's fair. Guys, this was a fantastic win for the 49ers. Like I said, 393 days. Think about 393 days. Like, that's such a long time for the 49ers to go winless at Levi's. And I know people are going to say, well, they played a bunch of games in Arizona. Still, the fact that they had not won a game here in over a calendar year and like a month is insane. So that has no longer happened. Kyle Shanahan gets his 5th straight win over the Rams and Sean McVay. Extremely impressive what they did tonight. Basically shocked the world. I'm just going to come out and say it. Shocked the world. Shocked me. I know it shocked Anthony. But with all that being said, guys, that's going to do it. We do appreciate you guys tuning in to another episode of the Red and Gold Standard podcast. Hit like, hit subscribe. We're going to be giving away a 49ers jersey once you... Oh, looks like I lost Perry. We're going to be giving away a 49ers jersey once you reach us subscribers. So hit subscribe on YouTube. If you don't have an account, it takes 2 seconds to create an account. 49ers Hive, subscribe, follow us on Twitter. We give away stuff all the time. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Have a fantastic night. Have a fantastic rest of your week. We'll be live later in the week to preview the 49ers game against Jacksonville Jaguars. Good night, guys.